Welcome to another GINA program. Today we have with us Minister within the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, the Honorable Annette Ferguson. Minister, thank you for affording time with us. We will be speaking on some of the accomplishments for 2015. Minister, we thank you.
Mr. Greenwich, indeed, it is a pleasure having you here with me this morning, and I'm happy to share with you and the viewers by extension some of the accomplishments I was able to achieve with the agencies under my responsibility within the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, and also what are my future expectations of these agencies for 2016. So it's indeed a pleasure having you.
Thank you, Minister. Can you start by telling us or giving us an idea of some of the agencies under your remit?
Well, Glendon, I have approximately 8 agencies under my responsibility, and to name them, the Ghana Harbor, the Demerara Harbor Bridge, the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, the Ghana Post Office Corporation, Transport and Harbours Department, the Hinterland Electrification Company Inc., Public Utilities Commission, the Kanawaima Ferry Service, and portion of the Work Services Group here within the Ministry of Public Infrastructure.
Thank you so much, Minister. What were you able to achieve in the varying ministries for 2015? I know you took office around the mid-2015, and you would have had some of the challenges. We will come to the challenges, but what can we pinpoint to say this is what we were able to accomplish with the agencies?
Well, most importantly, if not all the agencies, I can highlight some of the agencies that we had like intense work done in, right? Agencies such as the Civil Aviation Authority, the Ghana Post Office Corporation, and Transport and Harbours Department.
What was done under the Transport and Harbour Department? I recall just a few months ago, one of the main ferry vessels that plies the Northwest Route that was docked for much needed repairs. Apart from that, what else did the Transport and Harbour Department was able to accomplish so far for the year?
Okay, apart from the Lady North Court, which was docked and is now back in operation, we had the docking of the Kimbia and the docking of the Barima, I think the Sandaka, that plies the Parika to Legwan route. That vessel too has also been docked for some minor maintenance work. Outside of the docking of vessels under the Transport and Harbours Department, I must say, after taking office in May 2015, I had met with all the agency heads, inclusive of staff within the various departments. The complaints I received primarily was, the condition of employment, salaries, overtime, and to name a few. What was brought to my attention too is the fact that the Transport and Harbours Department, they have like this sports club there in Thomas Land, and I guess under the previous administration this club was closed. This club, it gives the employees a sense of relaxation on a Fridays or a weekend, amongst other things, where they can meet together to build a better relationship among themselves. And what I did is that I was able to meet with one gentleman who served as the head of the Transport and Harbours Department. That's Mr. Ivory English, who accepted, my meetings, and he came and we discussed matters pertaining to transport, how we can better transport, amongst other things. And he was very cooperative. And I must say that I mandated him to set up a committee to look at how we can have the sports club come back into operation. And I wish to report that the sports club is back in operation, and it now serves the intended purpose for which it was once created for.
That is good because it's not just about, this is the way I understand it, it's not just about staffers coming to work and getting government job done, but it's about having at least a recreational facility for them, or an enabling environment where they can go and they can build that better relationship, that better gelling relationship that is needed in the execution of their duties, which is much commendable. Did anything else occur over the year that we can make mention of within this particular agency?
Well, I must say that since the passing of the budget, the APNUFC budget, we have commenced work on the bicycle stallion. Work is currently ongoing. So I guess for 2016 we will see a continuation of those works, leading up to Bartica becoming a township in 2016.
Understand. So we're talking about the Perica stallions, the Bartica stallions, the Wakenham stallions,
Even the leg one stallions, yeah.
All those being rehabilitated.
Well, I wouldn't say all those being rehabilitated in 2015, but Bartica specifically, we have works currently ongoing on the Bartica stallion and Bartica stallion. I think some works are expected to commence shortly on the Perica stallion.
Understood. We talk about stallions on the transport and harbour department, and we spoke about Lady North Court, but what about the dredging of the channels? Does that fall under you?
No, I think the dredging of the channel, falls directly on the MARAD. MARAD has responsibility for dredging.
No problem. On the GCAA, what were some of the accomplishments for the year?
Well, I had a lot of accomplishments under the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority. Most importantly, I was able to witness the Transportation Security Administration, that is the signing of a memorandum of agreement to provide cargo X-ray scanners and training and development, among other support initiatives. We were also able to sign quite recently in Montreal. There's an agreement between Guyana and the United Arab Emirates, right, whereby we would now allow for that airline to fly, within Guyana without any difficulty, right? The other accomplishment under the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, we had a few departments which were relatively short of staff, and we were able to have persons hired in order to boost the full complement of that particular department. I can refer to the Aviation Security Department, where an additional 4 staff were added to the 1 person we had in that department. Also, even though it's not fully an accomplishment at the moment, I had sent off the draft act to the Attorney General, because I guess you would have heard previously me mentioning that there's need for the Civil Aviation Authority Act to be amended. So I'm awaiting a feedback from the AG's office before it is being tabled in the National Assembly.
What can you tell me about this act, and what is the purpose of this act?
Well, what has happened is that the act, based on some of the recommendations that was put forward by the ICAO, right? We recognize that the act wasn't fully in compliance with what ICAO has required of us. We had, I think, the component which speaks to the security aspect of the Civil Aviation Authority. We had that being absent from the act. So I think that would now be a part of the
Right.
act to bring full, compliance and strength to the
National
regulatory
standards.
body.
Understood. Is that the only amendment we can expect to see for the act
So far,
so far?
yes.
Understood. That is something significant.
Hmm.
Um, it's not just about having an agency running, but we we have to have something on pen and paper
Yeah.
that will be able to give you a strong guideline that says this is what you're to do, and
Hmm.
this is how it should be done. Not
Hmm.
according to some guesswork or how somebody thinks it should, but according to international accepted
Hmm.
standards which we actually sign on to. What else has occurred in this regard?
Well, in GCAA, we had the whole issue of our air traffic controllers there at Tamari. A number of them, they have been acting for years. The union, that's the Ghana Public Service Union, along with the union rep at GCAA, they met with me and they've laid a case, they brought the facts. Apparently, this particular matter was discussed with the previous minister who never took the responsibility in ensuring that these people are confirmed to their substantive or appointed to their substantive position. So, going through with the union and the representative there from GCAA, I was able to give the approval to have those persons appointed in their substantive positions.
It's funny that you would say that because based on what I'm feeling from you so far, it's not just about holding a position and running ahead with a work program or a work project, but it's about understanding what is actually going on within the agency,
Yeah.
what actually hinders the level of productivity it
Mm-hmm.
needs, because
Mm-hmm.
we can have so many programs. But if the staff, the person who's supposed to ensure that those programs are executed in a timely
Mm-hmm.
manner and an efficient manner, if their capacity is not built, if they're not comfortable, then we're not doing anything.
Yes, and then just to reinforce the point that GCAA is a critical organization within the aviation body, because remember they have total responsibility for oversight, ensure that we have safety in our air, and as you rightfully put, if we don't have the full staff complement, if we don't have the qualified people in the various
We're
positions,
also
our
motivated.
aviation industry would be at risk.
Yeah.
And I think with this government, our government, we wouldn't want to see our aviation being too risky, because at the end of the day, we have a responsibility in ensuring that our people who use our airspace, be it passengers, be it pilots, whoever they be, they must be safe, so.
That's true. That's something that's important in time, and again, we tend to overlook it.
Mhm.
We always, over time, overlook the most important resource, the human resource, the
Mhm.
people aspect of it.
Mhm.
And we find most times as ministers or as managers, they fail to actually pay attention to people.
Mhm.
Once they are comfortable, work will be done.
Yeah, but then again, Glendon, an organization cannot run without the human resource. Because at the end of the day, in order for us to have the production, in order for us to produce, it's not the organization, it's the people who make things happen. And if we don't have the people, then, we're wasting our time.
In that regard, training, what's going on with training?
Yes, I must say that the Ghana Civil Aviation Department, since taking office, a number of employees were given opportunity, be it internally or externally, to be exposed to training. So in 2016, that will
Will
continue.
continue. Understood. The post office cooperation. I recall you had a similar situation where we first spoke, where you recognized that a similar situation existed just as ECA with the staff. They needed to be motivated. A board needed to be formulated. Where are we with GPOC?
Well, what should I say? Nothing, I think from the last discussion we had, nothing significantly has changed. Um, just to say that I had the opportunity of meeting with management and staff, and even the board, the former board, and they've all put their case to me as to some of the challenges they faced. Most importantly, the post office is experiencing major financial constraints as a result of the introduction of modern technology, and the post office is still striving to ensure that they keep a level head. They survive all the challenges. So I have commenced working and will continue to work closely with management, because as it stands at the moment, we don't have a board in place. So I have continuously been giving support to the management, sharing ideas, some of the areas that they can improve in order to better their services. I made it clear to the postmaster and team that many persons out there, Guyanese, they don't know some of the services that are being provided by the post office, and as a result, for your service to be accepted by the general mass, you have to sell yourself. So I encourage them to have their services advertised, and I must give them a thumbs up for that, because I've seen advertisement being run on both television and radio, so that the public out there can weigh the pros and cons, whether if I'm to use the post office, these are the services that they're providing, these are the costs attached to these services as against the competitors, because you have Western Union, you have Pay, and all these other competitors out there. I've encouraged management to seek the possibility of introducing like an online service, because there's the big thing now. People are using the online services to purchase their products, such as clothing, cell phone accessories, amongst other things. So what I said to management, you can even compete with your competitors out there, because you have a widespread. We have in excess of 60 odd post offices countrywide. So I think what is the major impediment for the post office is that we have the infrastructure. The infrastructure is there, but we just have to better the infrastructure. So I think with the new board coming on stream shortly, I would give them a mandate to have these, services expanded amongst other things.
How soon can we see the board coming on?
I guess in the new year.
In the new year.
And just before I come off from the post office, I just want to make this point. Training is a major factor in any organization. And I think some of the staff, they lack training. So we need to ensure that we have continuous training so as to ensure that we get better services from our employees.
What are some of the areas highlighted or earmarked for training?
I would like to see training in our letter carriers, because many a times I receive reports from the general public, be it in writing or by telephone, that mail intended for an addressee is being sent at a wrong address. So I think we have to pay specific emphasis on our postmen. Yeah.
Understood. Apart from that, security-wise, time and again we've seen a number of robberies occurred, especially around the pension pay period at post offices. We must admit, we have not seen that in quite a while. What is in place for security? What is the plan for security?
Security is a big thing, and it's a very sensitive area. and I just don't want. I wouldn't want to,
not to give us the
share
plan,
much,
but just
But
for us to know that something
yeah,
is
I
being
know
done.
for a fact that management is striving to ensure that they have an improved security department within the corporation, so as to ensure that the experiences they faced in the past, it wouldn't occur in the future.
Understood, ma'am. What coming in, and this is across the board for the varying agencies, what can we see for 2016?
Well, for 2016, high on my agenda, perhaps we might have a little. I would want to see um, rotation of staff. You don't want one set of staff being too comfortable, because when persons are comfortable in doing one thing, they become very complacent. So if you really want to have better services, I think we would have
Must be
to
around it.
rotate our staff. There's one. Two, we have to ensure that training is high on the agenda, because if employees aren't trained, especially for the specific area of responsibility that they have, you wouldn't get much from them. So if you really want to see the organizations grow, you must invest in your employees. So that would be, my focus for 2016. As it relates to better conditions, yes, that is high on my agenda too. Better conditions. If you have broken chairs, broken tables, whatever, I want to see those things replaced.
What about projects from the varying agencies?
Well, I know the Ghana Post Office Corporation will shortly commence the rebuilding of the Kitty Post Office there in Kitty, so as to provide services to the residents within Kitty and its surrounding environs. Um, the tenders were out, the estimates were in, the evaluation was done, and the postmaster general promised me that she will get it to me so that I can just okay for the commencement of those work. With regards to the Transport and Harbours Department, work will continue on our dilapidated stellings. Um, we have, as I said earlier, Bartica, and work is expected to continue on the Bartica stelling. For transport, my passion is to see the Mazruni dock come back into operation. Bringing that back into operation would be a big boost for the Transport and Harbours Department, because that is where young people can become employed and develop a skill, be it in mechanics, be it in machinery, whatever the case might be, right? So I would want to see for 2016 the Mazruni Dockyard. We have extensive rehabilitative work done there, so that our young people from Bartica and its surrounding areas can become employed, learn a trade, and then venture out.
If I may, Minister, this Mazruni dock, what is that about? Well, we understand it's in the Mazruni River, but what is the dockyard? What is it really about? What are they doing?
Okay, it's basically where ship or vessels can be docked for repairs. That's basically it.
So, because the situation, I'm guessing because the dock is not up, we have a situation where we're spending a lot of money to hire contractors to get the work done.
Exactly.
So, where we can be able to have persons who are trained executing those work, it means government can be able to not just save, but it will be some level of employment for persons in the area.
Yeah. And the other thing, on the Transport and Harbours Department, we have the central workshop that is currently in a deplorable state, I can tell you. So at least in 2016, I would love to see some. I think in the 2016 budget, there is some proposed provision for works to commence in that area.
Minister, was there anything we missed along the way?
Well, yes. I just want to let you know that the Transport and Harbours Department will be celebrating its 85th anniversary next month. So we have in planning activities to commemorate that celebration.
Wow. You would be able to give us any idea of some of the activities you have planned?
Well, I have workers' conference plan, church service. That's a big thing for me. Church service, and I think family funding.
Family funding. What is the importance of the Transport and Harbour Department? Why Transport and Harbour Department? Somebody might ask.
Because Transport and Harbours Department provides a service to the general public, more so to those persons who live on the Essequibo coast, who live in the Northwest District, and amongst other areas where you don't have like road transport, but they have to use the river transport to get from one area to the other. So Transport and Harbours Department is indeed an essential department, not only to the government, but to the people of this nation.
Service oriented.
Yes.
Understood. Any other projects we can expect to see coming out of 2016? Going into 2016?
Well, I can safely say for the GCAA, I've just got a work program from one department. We would probably see the review and revise civil aviation license regulations. And the target date for that would be January 31st, 2016. Consumer Protection Education Campaign. This will be done between February 17th to 19th. Hinterland Airstrip Development Program. This will be done in March 31st, 2016. Economic Impact Study of Civil Aviation on GDP Economy. This will be done in March 2016. Development of a National Framework for CO2 Emission. March 31st, 2016. Develop National Aviation Policy for Guyana, April 30th, 2016. Development of a National Aviation Master Plan, April 30th, 2016. A guidance manual for ATM, that is the Air Transport Management, right? May 31st. Completion and submission of CO2 Action Plan, June 30th. Consumer Survey at OAI, there's the Ogle Airport, right? And the CIGA, July 1 to 31st, 2016. Career Outreach Program, August 12th to 13th, 2016. Economic Review of Airport and ANS Charges, December 31st, 2016.
So, what we definitely will see coming out, especially out of GCAA for 2016, is a complete review to enhance its efficiency.
Yes. Yes.
And that is something that a lot of agencies need to do time and again.
Yes.
Minister, thank you a lot.
Well, just before you close, I just want to say that recently, Cabinet would have approved the possibility of developing our aerodromes. So I have identify a committee and have given mandate to the committee to start the work. So I guess by within the week of probably February or early March, we would see a draft document coming into place.
Tell me more about this development of the aerodromes.
Well, we have in excess of 160 plus airstrips, right, in the various regions. Some of these airstrips are indeed in a deplorable state. The runway, amongst other things, its surrounding environs. So what I would really want to see, because in the APNU AFC manifesto, we did highlight that the government would ensure that our aerodromes are properly safe for our people, right? So that document would seek to address how best we can have our aerodromes improved, and amongst other things. And I must say that this would not be done haphazardly. What we intend to do is to meet with the various stakeholders, our operators, the people who live within these airstrips, meet with them, get a sense of understanding from them, how what is it they would want to see, because some of these airstrips, they're not properly secured. So from time to time you would see animals venturing out onto these airstrips, which is very, very risky to our people in general.
Melissa, thank you so much for your time.
Yes, and may I take this opportunity, if you may, in extending New Year's greetings to all Guyanese. I just want to wish you health, strength, and prosperity. And I trust that what you were not able to achieve in 2015, you will accomplish it in 2016. And may God richly bless you all. And I do look forward for your continuous support in 2016.
Thank you, Melissa.